Live from the studios of Metro TV, this is News Night. I'm Isa Moni. Up next is the headlines for tonight. In headlines tonight, concerned citizens of Asem Krom in the Awin municipality of the Western North region petitioned government against small-scale mining activities in their community. And we will be telling you the story of Comfort Amakwata, a young woman who is on a mission to help students develop love for mathematics. And in business, the Ghana Revenue Authority rakes in over 300 million cedis from e-levy at the end of September 2020. And on the foreign front, light traffic has returned on Russia's Ulin Bridge to Crimea, highest after a huge blast brought down sections of the roadway. Hello again, and let's start with the news right away. Some concerned citizens of Asem Krom in the Awin municipality of the Western North region have petitioned government to put a stop to small-scale mining activities in the communities. The residents say their lands have been completely destroyed, their water bodies polluted. They contend that no law-abiding small-scale mining activity exists in the country. Therefore, all forms of mining should be brought to a halt. And to deliberate on this issue, I have been joined on Zoom by Reverend Father Joseph Blay, who is the convener of concerned citizens of Asem Krom. Hello, Reverend. Good evening, and many thanks for your time.
Good evening. Please, how are you?
I am doing very well. I hope you are too.
I am.
Well, it is interesting to know that you are not calling on government to end illegal mining, but also small-scale mining activities in your community. If you can tell us, how have the small-scale miners contributed to the devastation in where you live?
Exactly. Thank you very much. So Asem Krom Jema belongs to the Awin municipality. And presently, as I'm talking, I think we have more than 60% of the municipality being mined and devastated, destroyed by small-scale mining. They come in disguise as small-scale miners with a government certificate, and then in the course of it, they sell it to Chinese miners, destroying rivers, destroying natural habitats, destroying even the arable lands for the people. And as you can see on my screen, my background is a river. In fact, that is River Nkobra, where I did the research for my dissertation on the Galamsey, artisanal mining in Ghana. Is it rural poverty mitigation or rural poverty aggravation? And you can see that it is rural poverty aggravation.
All right, so Reverend, has your petition been received by the relevant authorities?
Yes, so far, the petition has gone to the Awin municipality head. So we've sent a copy to the municipal chief executive. We've sent a copy to the Omanyene of Awin. We sent a copy to the regional minister. We sent a copy also to the magistrate, that the registrar of the magistrate district court at Enchi. We sent a copy to the police commander of Enchi. We've sent a copy to the divisional police commander of Enchi. The rest are going to be emailed to the president, to the vice president, to the IGP, to the Minister for Land and Natural Resources, to the Minister for Environment. So all the other ones are going to be emailed to Accra next week.
Right, I can see you've done a lot to make sure you get some good response. But what is the plan B? What if all these fails? What are you going to do?
Well, if the plans B fails, we have the legal instruments. In fact, Ghana, it's not that we are not going to ask for the instrument. We have the legislation. We have Act 703, which is the Mineral and Mining Act. And it's at its amendment, Amendment 995, and Amendment 900, which has even intensified the punishment, the punitive measures. So what we are doing is just calling on government to implement these laws that we have paid people to make the laws in parliament and then put them into practice. So if they are not, we are going to arrest the people, as the community of Jema did. Asemkrom and Jema and Ngaken are the only three communities in the Awi municipality where mining has been banned by the people. So we are going to take, or we have taken, the civil responsibility. If the public or the republic is not doing it, it is the responsibility of civilians. So we are going to carry civilian arrest in a very peaceful manner. And when the government refuses, then we have also to resort to the international arena.
Well, we know the president has met a group of chiefs recently, and it's one of the approaches that the government is making to make sure people get the message right that they are not happy with Galamsey or illegal mining. But there is a divided opinion as to whether the approach that the president has taken is going to work out or not. What is your view on that?
I think I don't support that approach. And for me, it's a dilly-dally method. It is just one of the rhetorics that maybe the president and the chiefs are doing. In fact, I feel very disappointed. But we have very noble leaders, both our chiefs and then our ministers and politicians. They are noble, they are intelligent. If you look at the Ghanaian legal measures that we have made, very intelligent. So for the chiefs to say that they are incapable, I feel very, very disappointed. Because if you look at the Chieftaincy Act, and if you look at the Land Act, both 2020, Chieftaincy Act 2008, our chiefs are empowered. There is no government agency that will go and even just an ordinary factory or industry on the chief's land, what we call the alluvial land or the stool land, without the permission of the chiefs. So how can somebody come and mine in a river, as you see? This is the Ankobra. I can show you the tunnel. I can show you the Boyne, and they are not hiding. And the chiefs, you know, these are common goods. The common goods are in the hands of the chiefs. They are the ones who are the trustees. So if the chief says that they are not capable to watch over this, they are just saying that, well, then they have no raison d'etre. They have defeated their purpose of existence because they are there to take care of the heritage. And that is what the ancestors did. That is why in the olden days, they were fighting the tribal wars, because people were fighting over maybe the tunnel between the Nzemas and the Awin, between the Wasa and the Asin. They are fighting over the Ankobra. And they said, this is ours. We are not going to allow it. So now in our own time where we have legal measures, and even the government will respect chiefs before encroaching. So how can we say that we are powerless? I feel very disappointed, very, very disappointed. And then does the president needs the assistance or maybe the assent of the chiefs to implement the very laws that we have made? Ghana is a republic. Ghana is not a conglomeration of chiefdoms. All our chiefdoms, all our this, they are under the republic. In 1957, we all came together that we want to form a republic. So there's no chiefdom. So all of them are under the president. So when we have made a national law, do we need to go back to our chiefs to beg them? No, I don't think so. I differ from that opinion. And I think it's just rhetorics.
Right. Reverend Father, being a man of God yourself, are you expecting a bigger role for churches to play to actually understand our concern that this is affecting the entire country, our economy, and our livelihoods?
I'm happy that you mentioned that. I feel also disappointed by the church. I feel disappointed. I'm a Catholic priest. I belong to the Franciscan order. You know, the Catholic priests, we have different orders. We have SVDs, Franciscan Jesuits. And the founder of my congregation, of my order, St. Francis of Assisi, He is the patron saint of ecology and the environment. St. Francis protected the environment. Currently, as a Catholic priest, let me just bring in something that our current Pope has written and he's championing for the whole world. Pope Francis has written an encyclical, that is a letter addressed to all people on earth, called Laudato Si. In the number 160, you may refer, the Pope asks, what world, what kind of world are we living to those who are coming after us, to children who are now growing? So look at this river on the screen. Is that the type of world that we want to leave to our children? Look at the earth, the way it's devastated. Is that the type of heritage we want to leave? And so I believe that being a man of God today, it is not just enough to stand on the pulpits and pray or preach to the people, and then they are going back to drink this water. We have a pastoral responsibility. It's a pastoral responsibility. And taking care of God's creation, it is through the creation that we render praise to God. So if children cannot drink this water, poor people who are farming here, how can they praise God? How can they praise God? Now if you walk along the tunnel, even the crocodiles that are living here, sometimes they are attacking people because they have no habitats. How can they praise God? So I think it is the responsibility of the church to go beyond the pulpit and enter into the homes of the people. Pope Francis said, let us have the smell of the sheep. If you are a pastor, you should smell the sheep like the good shepherd. They carry the lamb on their neck. When they get home, their shirt is smelling. And that is what it means that the pastors must have the smell of the sheep. Let's get involved and see the water that they are drinking. Go to the farms and see what is happening. Recently, just last week, I've been following this thing very, very ardently. Last week, I read from Kumasi, one of the pathologists saying Ghana is beginning to have children of deformities because of the mercury. Last year, there was a case in our municipality at Nsawam. And nurse reported that in Nsawam, where the Boyne River has been intoxicated by mercury, children are being born without sight, with distorted noses, and the thing was just brushed aside, that it isn't true. These things need scientific investigation, scientific research to wake us up.
We are grateful for your time. That's Reverend Father Joseph Blay, who is the convener of Concerned Citizens of Asem Krom, speaking to us right there. Thank you for the input. You're watching Newsnight on Metro TV, and let's do some more stories tonight. And the Deputy Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources and Member of Parliament for Sisala East, Amidu Ishaku, has described as worrying the devastation of the Birim River due to Galamsey activities. He was speaking as part of a day's working visit to the region to inspect the conditions of some selected water bodies and water supply systems.
By a team from the ministry, the Ghana Water Company Limited, and some key stakeholders to Birim River and the Ghana Water Company treatment plant at Osino and Abomusu water supply system respectively. The deputy minister described the destruction level of the Birim River as worrying. According to him, the ministry and its stakeholders will put strategies together to reverse the Galamsey menace, which is having a toll on our waters.
We made certain decisions and probably they've not been effective enough to resolve the issue, and that is why we are back to look at it and to engage the chiefs and to take a new direction. So certainly we are going to review whatever decisions we made earlier and to ensure that there is a more impact on resolving the matter.
On his part, the managing director of the Ghana Water Company Limited, Engineer Dr. Clifford Brima, has noted that the company may be forced to shut because cannot push filth. He opined that the menace has become a national security issue which needs some stringent effort to fighting it.
President's admonishment to the chiefs and the MMDCs will help reduce the problems. At the end of it, what it means is that our system might not be able to operate because our pumps are not designed to pump salt. They are designed to pump fresh water. Since like salt, then we just have to shut. And if you shut, meaning people will not even get water. Water is so dirty, they cannot even go to the river to fetch, to do anything. And so it becomes a national security issue. And that's why people must take these issues more seriously than we are.
The chief of Osino, Osaberima Otu Dakon IV, on his part, expressed worry over government failure to collaborate with traditional rulers to ensure the Galamsey menace is put to a halt. He described the situation where government deployed security personnel to communities without the involvement of the traditional rulers as very disturbing.
I'm so am I? Yeah. Now say my friend you know na me answer na to. Yan kata so first. Na yan test soil so no. Na yan hwɛ say won use mercury na any other chemical on the strategy gold na. Yeah. If you establish that, you be hu enua eko a, you be dua e wo ho. Yeah. Ama atwe poison no and na duro ko e be gusu ama atwe poison na free asase no. Yet me dua no mai am ni pedi.
Let's stay with Galamsey because NDC Communications team member Titi Kateno says President Akufo-Addo has failed in the fight against Galamsey due to his inability to hold MPP faithful participating in the act accountable. He spoke in an earlier interview on Inside Pages.
Functionaries as MPP to be doing Galamsey, the water bodies will expose you. And that's what we have today. Because the fundamentals to stop Galamsey is wrong. And if you, the president, will not stop your party functionaries, the water bodies will expose you, and that is what we have today. So if I say that the president has failed on this fight of Galamsey, I have a basis to say it. And I will iterate or list these things that will make you understand where I'm coming from. Okay. One, we're in this country when there was a ban on Galamsey for 2 strong years. I am not an agriculturist, neither am I an environmentalist. But I know that if a stream, you stop digging in a stream, 2 years is enough time for the original color or the water body to bring itself back. But during these 2 years, we had series of reports. We had missing excavators. 500 were seized out of this. My brother, we heard that voice of the video, which happened in Professor Frimpong Boateng's office with MPP party functionaries, where they said that party Nyesika saying, to the detriment of Ghanaians. Look, I am of the view that what we call alluvial mining should be banned for another 50 years in Ghana.
Meanwhile, NPP Communications team member Eric Chum, speaking on the same show, said the fight against Galamsey should not be politicized, calling on MMDAs to sit up in the supervision of water bodies and forests in their communities.
People and everybody appreciates the fact that we need to do something about Galamsey, that President calling these people together and making sure that we are all on the same page and singing from the same hymn sheet. It's an exercise in futility. It's neither here nor there. These are the same people who, when we have conversations or there are certain disagreements, we say, oh, let's dialogue.
Stakeholder dialogue.
Let's engage. These are the same people who are saying that we should have a stakeholder engagement on the economy.
Hasn't it come a bit too late?
No, but you see, the point is that the president attested to the fact that in as much as ABCD has happened, has been done, we still are having challenges, and that he's still committed to ensuring that we forestall these challenges and have a certain semblance of sanity within the space.
Moving away from Galamsey, some companies in the industrial hub of Okankwe have been summoned by officials of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly for defiance of the Operation Clean Your Frontage by law in Accra. This follows a routine inspection conducted by environmental health officers of the AMA in the Okankwe sub-metro. Shadrach Odamejari has more in this report.
Of the Operation Clean Your Frontage initiative, that is the strict enforcement, commenced here at the North Industrial Area around the Okankwe South Enclave with summons letters to most companies that have unclean frontages, like the very one behind me. This is the warehouse of Deluxe Company Limited. So once the team or the task force arrive here, summons letters were given to them, and apparently they have started weeding their frontages and clearing the whole place.
This company is called Sumuku. Yes, so they have discharged their fecal matter into the public drain. So we've served them. Monday, we are taking them to court. Yes, so they are saying we should wait for their manager to come, but no. This is a nuisance that is detrimental to the public health because you are discharging fecal matter. It can lead to the spread of cholera, can lead to the spread of typhoid, can lead to the spread of a lot of things.
See the stretch of your property, stretching from the end there to the end. The whole drain is full of weed. It's like a jungle.
No, we actually
let me end. It's like a jungle. And the weed, the way you left the place, it's like nobody lives in this property. It's like there is no business activity going on in this property. And if I remember, me and some officer have met your landlord several times. We inform you that every Saturday, ensure that the front and the drain, you clean and tidy and collect the waste for safe disposal. We've worked up to your property here. So we'd like you to delegate somebody, if you yourself want to show you some of the problems at your frontage here, and immediate effect. The law is saying that the moment your place is not clean, we have to put you there to work. So we are here to enforce that exercise this morning. No problem. So thank you. So let somebody be with us. If somebody come and put container here to operate, will you say he shouldn't put a container? Huh? You allow him to put, or you sack him? You will sack him. So that's why we are arresting you for allowing him to be put.
And over 300 personnel drawn from 5 municipalities in the Greater Accra region have been trained in data collection for a field work to provide insightful recommendations in the development and implementation of environmental solutions in Ghana and beyond. The training was organized by Africa Environmental and Sanitation Consult, AFES.
Africa Environmental and Sanitation Consult, AFES, is a limited liability firm that provides sustainable environmental solutions and consulting services by undertaking a broad spectrum of research and training to develop viable solutions for private and public organizations in the environmental sector and beyond. The training of over 300 personnel is to collect information on how households manage waste in order to curb the sanitation challenges in Accra. Benoni Aqua and Nathaniel Ado are respective leads for the training sections in the Ayawaso Central and Ladadekotopon municipalities.
The whole exercise is about data collection, and we are collecting data on sanitation. The data is needed for decision making. Actually, sanitation in Accra is a challenge, and I think it's in the right direction to collect data, identify the challenges, and then the right policies will be made.
We are giving them the requisite knowledge to actually go to gather various information from the field. This information into various stages, which will actually be sent to the AFES who are actually in charge of this program. So they will actually use this data to see the loopholes that are available and also see the issues whereby they need much attention.
The project lead for Korle Klote Municipality, Adlina Adolenyake, on her part, urged households to provide the participants with the necessary information they may need.
I will advise every household to open up to every participant that will come to them as an interviewer, to interview them to gain information. They should be reliable and then give them all the necessary information they need to know. They shouldn't hide anything. And we have all swear an oath to be under oath, that is what? Confidentiality, without releasing any information taken from them.
Some of the other district leads shared their views with Metro News.
Since climate change is fast catching up into us, we need to manage our sanitation properly so that we won't get affected so much. Because anytime there's a downpour in Accra here, we have flooding because people drop waste indiscriminately. to gutters instead of the proper way of disposal.
Advice for the trainees is they should make sure they get or they give us quality data. They shouldn't think of the remuneration that is going to be given to them alone, but then they should give their best to collect quality data. In the absence of quality data, we won't be able to, do what I refer to as the mitigating our poor waste management staff in the country.
The training, which started on October 6, ends October 8, 2022. The field work will, however, commence on 12 October and end on 28 October 2022. Reporting for Metro News, Rosemary Anyimba, Accra.
And a former Deputy Minister for Works and Housing, Samuel Yao Edusei, has called for a complete overhaul of the leadership of the National Democratic Congress. He believes the NDC stands a better chance of winning the 2024 elections if the two main contenders for the chairmanship position, Samuel Ofosu Ampofu and Johnson Nasidu Nketia, are booted out.
The National Democratic Congress has set December 17 as the date to conduct its internal elections to elect executives from constituency, regional and national levels. Several individuals have declared their intentions to contest for various positions in the party. The latest among them is the Deputy Ashanti Regional Minister, Samuel Yao Edusei, who is optimistic about the NDC's victory in 2024 general elections. Addressing a press conference in Kumasi, Samuel Edusei explained that the party now needs a new face to lead it into the 2024 elections. He stated that the country is currently facing extreme hardship under the MPP government. Hence, the need for the NDC to win back power in 2024 to save Ghanaians.
A fan of the party, that the chairman he worked with, the person he has known over the years, does not deserve to get another term. The chairman, on the other hand, that's the incumbent chairman, on the other hand, has known this general secretary for almost 2 decades. He has worked with him as general secretary. And he is also telling us that this, my general secretary that I've worked with, does not deserve to move up to occupy the position I'm occupying now.
Who are we to doubt these two experienced politicians? They are telling the members of National Democratic
Congress a message that there should be a new face and that they have no confidence in each other. That's the communication to the party, that they have no confidence in each other to occupy such a position.
He also reiterated the need for the party to elect executives who are fearless, committed, and loyal to spearhead the affairs of the party from branch through to regional and national levels.
You're watching Newsnight, and there's more to come after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back, and now here's a story that will make you love mathematics. That is, if you didn't. Now, many people simply hate mathematics. Sometimes the mere mention of it sends shivers down their spine. But one woman is on a mission to reverse the trend. Comfort Amakwata spends her time creating applications and devising innovative ways of teaching the subject. Sorry.
Unlike many of her peers who shunned mathematics, Comfort Amakwata was drawn to the subject thanks to her father, who was an engineer. He helped her through the basics of the subject, and with time, she developed love for it to the point of teaching it professionally. Through her own resources, she developed an app and created a YouTube channel where she began to teach the subject.
And stand at one point of the circumference of a circle and draw a chord to join another point.
Concerned about how the subject is taught, Comfort began to train other teachers to devise more practical ways of transferring knowledge.
As a mathematics teacher, I always go to the roots of even a formula, try to derive the formula with them. Let them know how this formula came about. That is when it will stick forever. and it will become part of them. Every teaching or every topic has an application in their lives. So let them know the application of what they are learning as they learn the subject. So after school, how are you going to apply this? After school, how will you apply this? So with that, they tend to appreciate the subject. But if teachers tend to use cane as a way of, scaring them to learn the subject, you might see them learning, but they are not learning.
She's currently in the United States of America to undertake training on how to apply modern technology in the classroom. She acknowledges that the difference is vast from the methods being deployed in her home country.
The softwares are there for the teacher to guide him. So no need to struggle. And every student who has a laptop has a tablet to use. So they always, go play with it, research more on it, do a lot of things on their own to come up with so many things on their own. That is how it has been helping them. And I'm willing to come back to Ghana to share my experience.
She called on government to equip Ghanaian teachers with the necessary resources to make teaching and learning fun.
Most of the courses under STEM are very expensive. So if we can also bring it down or get more support for a girl trying her best in science and maths, give more scholarships to the girls, it's really motivate. Okay, after SHS, I can get a scholarship to do a doctorate degree, to become a doctor. So after my master's program, I can get a scholarship to do my doctorate degree in the science, in the STEM related. Okay, then let me learn hard to gain the scholarship.
Comfort is on a mission to get more students to love the dreaded subject, mathematics, touching at least one student a day at a time. She aims to be that teacher who will make a difference.
When I was in Ghana, we were deducted some monies for laptops, okay, which was very good because it will help every teacher to at least get a laptop and be able to explore more on it and implement a new curriculum, which is more of technology use. But the question is, these primary teachers that are to implement the curriculum now, do they have the laptops that were supposed to be given to them? So how then do they implement the new curriculum if they still don't?
I think my mass phobia is gone now. I intend to join her class to learn more, thanks to Comfort. Now, children within the Wejagbawe municipality, where floodwaters are receding, are yet to be immunized by personnel of the Ghana Health Service. Parents say even though their children were covered during the first round of the polio immunization exercise, the team is yet to make a second visit to cover their children. There's more in this report.
The exercise has already begun, but parents within zones that are still flooded say their children are yet to see health officers in their communities to get the vaccine. They, however, say their children were covered during the first round of the exercise. They believe the flooding is the cause of the delay. Some areas within the Wejagbawe municipality are still flooded. It has thus become quite difficult to reach such communities. Some parents spoke to Metro News.
Because by first one in the by second one the
Meanwhile, residents of the main Tetegu township, where the flooding was more severe, said no relative has died as a result of the flooding. They say all relatives are safe and sound, except that they have lost several belongings to the floods. Speaking to Metro News, some affected residents of the area say they are yet to receive any form of relief from the assembly or NADMO.
The flood has occupied every place here. Every place has been flooded, and our properties and our things are spoiled here. A lot of things are spoiled. Even my phone has fallen in the water. I'm not having a phone to do call. There's no light also in the system now.
Meanwhile, the power is yet to be restored in the area.
Breast Cancer Awareness Month is proudly brought to you by Reflux Sanitary Pad and Baby Pull-Up Diaper and Give Us Floor and WC Cleaners.
And in this segment tonight, upon hearing that she had breast cancer, fear gripped her heart, but she did not flinch. Her only fear was to leave her young children behind. Juliet Mills Lutrot was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 40 when she knew her work wasn't done as a mother. From an intense feeling of distress to heartache, Juliet fought her way through it all. Here is her story.
The fear of leaving my children, the fear of leaving my family. I was going to ask you that. Yeah, the fear of leaving my family. But you know, I've always been the type of person who believe that death is a beautiful part of life, because when you appreciate the fact that you will die someday, you live better. So I've never been afraid of dying. I was never afraid of dying. I was afraid of leaving my kids abruptly.
Although she was devastated when doctors told her she had breast cancer, Juliet fought her fears and stood tall through it all. Her husband had traveled when she was diagnosed, and when he returned, they both sought second opinions on what to do. Juliet describes her journey as long and confusing. She cried, she prayed, she did everything anyone would when they are in distress. But what kept her going was her love for life.
There are a series of tests that needs to be done, one being the mammography, one being the biopsy. Then the doctor will conclude whether there is anything at all. Don't start a funeral before you get to the hospital, I beg you. And at that point, listen, it's like anything else in life. If you're sick, there are protocols to what you have to do to get better. Allow the doctors to do their work and then stay positive. When you're positive with everything, you feel better. The medication you take works better.
For the tidbits on breast cancer. It's Newsnight on Metro TV, and up next is Business. In Business Tonight, Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Reverend Dr. Amishadiah Owusu-Amoah, says the controversial electronic levy has seen an increment of between 10 to 15% in the last few months. He hinted that the Finance Minister will in the coming months give some updates on the tax policy.
The Honorable Minister for Finance have said that we will be reviewing the e-levy at an appropriate time. If there's a need for any changes, it will be made available. So that is why we are doing the survey and to inform us for further improvement. But there's no doubt that, as I said, that there's increasingly between 10 to 15% monthly increase in the revenues that are coming through. I want to say that as far as the revenue generated so far, because we are doing the survey and because the Honorable Minister of Finance will want to put everything together at an appropriate time, share, I want to beg of you to defer to the appropriate time when the Minister will be able to share with all of us what has come through. But what I can say now is that, like I said earlier on, that we are seeing increasing growth month on month. But I can assure you that definitely one of the requirements of the law was that it is required to make available what is being collected. So at the right time, the Minister will definitely make available.
And also the Ghana Revenue Authority says it is on course to achieve its revenue target for the year 2022. The reviewed revenue for the year was pegged at 80.3 billion Ghana cedis by September 2022. It has accrued 70% of the target. Commissioner General of the GRA, Reverend Dr. Amishadiah Owusu-Amoah, has been speaking to the media.
For the year to date, we have collected 51.6 billion against a target of 52.0 billion. So it means that as far as year to date is concerned, we are about 460 million below the budget. And that comes to about 0.9%. That is less than about 1% below the budget. That is as at the end of September. Usually by September ending, we'll have collected about 70% of what we have to collect for the year, and then we'll do 30% in the last 3 months of the year. As at September this year, we have collected about 71% of what is supposed to collect, about 72%. And therefore, we can see that the 3 months left to go, we have a lesser target or a lesser amount or a lesser stretch, because usually on the average you have collected 70, but today on the average you have collected about 72. But again, this is on the revised target. So our ambition and our desire and our goal and our determination is not the 72 revised target. We are still looking towards the original target, and that is what we are working hard towards. And that's why we are calling on all of you that as for the revised target, looking at where we are sure that definitely we will clear it. But looking at the nation, looking at the fact that tax to GDP ratio is still below 14%, looking at the fact that as a nation, we need to mobilize revenue extensively to be able to support and stabilize the economy, it is important that we move towards the higher targets, and that is what we are aiming for.
The Comptroller and Accountant General's Department has suspended September salaries of some public sector employees whose names are a mismatch on the government payroll system. Some of the affected workers also have invalid bank account numbers on the system.
A notice on the suspension of September salaries signed by the head of Payroll Processing Directorate on behalf of the Comptroller and Accountant General explained that the anomaly was discovered following quality assurance and other validation processes. The notice asked employees whose bank names are a mismatch compared to what is on the payroll to report to the Payroll Coordination Unit of the Comptroller and Accountant General at Block A, Room 32. The affected employees are to submit appointment letter, current posting, Ghana card, payslips for the last 3 months, a voided check leaflet of the bank account with a cover letter from the ministry, department and agency where they work, confirming that the employee is at post. For employees with invalid bank account, affected persons are to submit their current bank account numbers to personnel processing sections for update. The notice dated October 3, 2022 asked affected persons to treat the directive as urgent. Though the notice did not mention the number of public sector employees affected, it will be recalled that Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia announced that out of 602,000 government workers on the payroll, 148,000 have been found to have identifications which do not match any biometric identification at the National Identification Authority database. This, according to him, was the outcome of a biometric audit by the Comptroller and Accountant General Department.
And there's still sports, entertainment, and international news coming up after the break. Welcome back, and let's do some entertainment news now. Now, the Coachella Valley Music and Arts Festival and its organizer, Golden Voice, are suing Ghana's Afrochella for alleged trademark infringement. So the lawsuit filed Wednesday at a California district court comes 3 years after AEG, which owns Golden Voice, issued a warning to the Afrochella Festival about infringing on the festival's trademark. In the lawsuit, Coachella and Golden Voice claim that Afrochella is intentionally trading on the goodwill of Coachella and Golden Voice, well-known Coachella and Chella festivals and trademarks, by actively promoting music events in the United States and in Ghana using the confusing mark Afrochella, and by fraudulently attempting to register plaintiff's actual trademark as their own. So, despite that initial warning and following a pandemic-postponed festival in 2020, Afrochella returned to Accra, Ghana in 2021 and 2022. However, with the festival set to expand to South Africa later this month and organizers hosting offshoot U.S. events, Golden Voice filed a lawsuit to further protect what they claim is ownership of all things Chella. right, so let's get on Zoom right now and let's speak to a creative art critic. Hello and good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, and good evening to your wonderful audience.
All right.
This is Spinoska here.
Great. So, I mean, this is entertainment, so we wonder why it has to go to court to settle these differences. What was the agreement at the beginning like?
Right. So, for this aspect of intellectual property and for it to be able to have an agreement, for it to be able to perform, in the US, their copyright law is an embodiment of what we have here in Ghana as in Act 690, and then the Protection Against Unfair Competition, which is Act 2006-57, and also our Trademark Act that we have here, which is different from what they have in US. And in US, if you have an agreement with somebody, it has copyright implications in the sense that whatever that you're going to produce, be it a trademark, a musical work or film or video, or even an event, which is going to be portraying other people's creative works. So all these kind of things falls under copyright, and they take it as in the sense that if you have an agreement with somebody and you want to work with, then it should be new things that you want to do, and you should not use somebody's name which will mislead the public, as we know it here as Protection Against Unfair Competition Section 1. That says misleading the public in terms of brand name, in terms of logo, symbol, that will have connotation to mean that you are riding on somebody's goodwill. And so that agreement that this Afrochella has gotten to be able to promote Afrobeat music in America is actually in the sense trying to look at what the Americans also do in the same sense, but they could have gone on to do their own program just for the fact that their name look familiar to that of the Americans. And that is the bone of contention that they filed. And the American copyright law also makes it that once you are organizing this event in America, whether you are Ghanaian or not, but on the soil of America, you are liable to their law, and therefore they have the right to also file in the court proceeding against you. And their law also says that they can seek civil remedies so that they can be able to get the benefits that would inure to them, because you and what they are also doing also inflicts on their intellectual property in the sense as in copyright law. And so that is what is actually the bone of contention for this Afrochella and the Coachella projects that they are fighting on in America.
Okay, so Benjamin, you are an intellectual property consultant. I mean, so you understand these things better. Do you think there is a semblance of encroachment or closeness to using the Coachella name, wrongly, or taking their name or their goodwill as they claim that anything Chella belongs to them? Do you agree there's a semblance?
Well, my agreement would not actually make a case, but I would want to educate people on the fact that when it comes to copyright, everybody has the right to initiate a legal action should they think that whatever you're doing infringes on their intellectual property. And so I would say that Coachella and Afrochella, yes, the name sounds similar, and if their logo trademarks looks similar, then there's a case. Because even in trademark law, in Ghana, as we have it here, there's an aspect of uniqueness and there's aspect of genuineness. And whereby even if the logos are not the same, but the colors looks alike, it is likely to mislead the public. And we have created a new law, we call it the Protection Against Unfair Competition here. Or even if the name sounds familiar, it might cause kind of mislead the public to believe that this is the same thing as we know as Coachella. And so they have a case. I wouldn't be able to say that they don't have a case because they have looked at the law, the copyright law that they have in America, and they have identified that indeed these people are riding on their goodwill, just like the case they have filed. They are riding on their goodwill, and the name also looks familiar, and the ideas that they are portraying is similar to what they are also doing. And there's another case, which is, they can also take it from the criminal point of view, which is trying to register the logo, which looks similar to what they have in their country. And so in that case, it is also pushed into the criminal domain, because the criminal domain also says that if works are protection, they should be protecting people who have weak in the system, they don't have much knowledge in what they're doing. So if you have gotten the knowledge and you want to be fast on somebody trying to quickly go to the corporate office to register, then indeed you are trying to play smart on somebody, and that's a criminal aspect as well.
Right, Ben. So we're grateful for your time. That's Benjamin Odru Ahin Jr., popularly known as B. Noska, speaking to us about the Coachella, Afrochella, and everything Chella saga. You're watching Newsnight on Metro TV. And before we end the entertainment segment, here is a video of our very own visual editor in the newsroom, Benjamin Ansa Udum, who got married to his sweetheart today. Congratulations, Ben. I mean, he couldn't have gotten married to anything apart from a sweetheart. We'll return with international news.
At least 9 people have been killed in an explosion at a petrol station in Northwest Ireland, authorities said, adding that search and rescue efforts were ongoing. According to the police, 8 more people were receiving treatment in hospital. They are, however, yet to address the cause of the explosion. Former South African President Jacob Zuma has been set free following the expiry of his prison sentence for contempt of court. Zuma received a 15-month sentence last year after he ignored instructions to participate in a corruption inquiry. He handed himself in on July 7th last year to begin his sentence, triggering the worst violence South Africa had seen in years as his angry supporters took to the streets. The road section of the only crossing from occupied Crimea has collapsed after an explosion. Widely shared images show a train on the Kerch rail bridge ablaze, with adjacent road bridge appearing to have sustained damage. Russian authorities said 3 people had been killed, probably the occupants of a car traveling near a track that blew up. The bridge, built on the orders of Vladimir Putin, is a key link to move military equipment into Ukraine. Moscow had illegally annexed the region 4 years earlier.
That's the news on Newsnight. Thank you for your company, and to all the guys in the newsroom who made it possible. I'm Mr. Money. See you again.